Today we are finally debunking the greatest villain, the biggest bad guy, the creator and founder of the word meme, Richard Dawkins. He has this video where he gives 5 reasons why there is no God. Let's see what he has to say.
What are the 5 best reasons why there is no God? What are the 5 reasons why there are no fairies? The onus is not upon an atheist to say why there is not something. The onus is on a theist to say why there is.
There are lots of really good arguments for God. A simple one is that the laws of logic prove God. The laws of logic are truths that are necessary in every possible universe. The laws of logic are immaterial. Unless you think they're physical, then you have to show where they are. If you think the laws of logic are physical and in the human mind, but if you remove humans, would that remove the laws of logic? No. The laws of logic are immaterial. If so, where they are. If you remove every human mind and the laws of logic are still present and they are necessary for every required universe, then they have to be somewhere. They are in the divine mind, God. Again, this is just a huge oversimplification. I will have a video link below. He says it is up to the theist to prove God. Okay, but a theist can also validly ask, how do you account for what you assume on your worldview? A worldview is an ethics, a metaphysic, an epistemology. How do you justify any of those things? How do you justify something like logic? How do you justify any knowledge claims that you make? Do you just think things or do you know things? Because if you're making truth claims, which you have to do in all forms of argumentation, then you need to justify that on your worldview. So a theist needs to justify God, but a theist can also ask an atheist how they justify how they're even using logic, how they're making sentences. They need to have a coherent worldview.
Having said that, it is a very interesting question because a universe with a God would be a very different kind of universe.
Richard, how do you know that? That's an outrageous claim. If there was a God, it wouldn't be this universe. How do you know that? You are basically claiming that it is logically impossible that the world we live in has a God. This requires knowledge of what a world with a God and without a God looks like. But that is the very thing in question. This is not an argument.
Than one without. So the most important reason is there simply are no reasons for the existence of a God.
What?
Did he actually think this was an argument?
There is no God. Because there's no reasons to believe in God?
There are lots of reasons to believe in God. The laws of logic presuppose God. God revealed himself in history through Jesus Christ. All throughout human societies, they have a conception of creator, of God. Creation presupposes a creator. Why is there a universe in the first place? How do you explain the origins of life? Even you, Richard, admit that there are holes in a naturalistic account of the origins of the universe. It cannot be explained.
Well, then who did create the heavens and the earth?
Why do you use the word who? You see, you immediately beg the question by using the word who.
Well, then how did it get created?
Well, by a very slow process.
Well, how did it start?
Nobody knows how it started. We know the kind of event that it must have been. We know the sort of event that must have happened for the origin of life.
And what was that?
It was the origin of the first self-replicating molecule.
Right, and how did that happen?
I told you we don't know.
So you have no idea how it started?
No, nor has anybody.
Nor has anyone else. What do you think is the possibility that intelligent design might turn out to be the answer to some issues in genetics or in evolution?
It could come about in the following way. It could be that at some earlier time, somewhere in the universe, a civilization evolved by probably some kind of Darwinian means to a very, very high level of technology and designed a form of life that they seeded onto perhaps this planet. Now, that is a possibility and an intriguing possibility. And I suppose it's possible that you might find evidence for that if you look at the details of biochemistry, molecular biology. You might find a signature of some sort of designer.
Wait a second. Richard Dawkins thought intelligent design might be a legitimate pursuit?
And that designer could well be a higher intelligence from elsewhere in the universe. Well, but that higher intelligence would itself have had to have come about by some explicable or ultimately explicable process. It couldn't have just jumped into existence spontaneously. That's the point.
So Professor Dawkins was not against intelligent design, just certain types of designers, such as God.
So the reasons against then would have to be you tick off on your fingers one by one the alleged reasons why there should be a God, such as the argument from design. Things look so beautifully designed, bananas and apples and things like that, and humans and kangaroos and so on. And they look as though they've been designed because that's what Darwinian natural selection does. It makes them look as though they're designed.
He admits it looks designed. In the previous clip, he admitted that intelligent design would make sense. And if you say, oh, Darwinian evolution, that's why we don't need design. Okay, who designed Darwinian evolution? Who designed that mechanism, if you believe in that? Well, it's all just random. Okay, that's random to you. How do you know? How do you actually have knowledge that it is random? How do you have knowledge that that actually is a mechanism? Who designed that? Who designed something like the laws of logic? The laws of logic are immaterial. They do not evolve and change. They do not contradict, and they have always stayed the same. How do you justify that on your worldview?
It produces a very good simulacrum of design. I think that's the most important reason against, that Darwin has exploded once and for all the argument from design.
Darwin did not destroy anything. The universe itself is designed.
If everything is random and nothing is designed, then there is no order in the universe, and there is no reason to believe in anything, including logic. This is why Dawkins' worldview is self-refuting and a defeater for knowledge. If everything is constantly changing and random, then why would you trust your own random thoughts? You have no reason to. You have no epistemic basis. On his worldview, logic itself becomes something random evolving, and you can never have justified true belief.
How do you explain your Darwinist mechanism of natural selection? Are you a scientific realist where you believe natural selection is a real thing? Well, that's an immaterial law. Where is it located? So if you're a scientific anti-realist and you're an instrumentalist, well, then you're saying that it isn't real. And Darwinism is a belief, one interpretation of the evidence. There is a huge difference between historical and observational science. Something as complex as sexual reproduction even evolve. It is unnecessary. Why would it ever? And their ad hoc explanation is, well, we're here. They don't have any explanations. It's just a belief.
Can you testify to how information arose by natural processes?
Here we are.
Other reasons that have been offered, for example, people claim to have a subjective experience, a personal experience of God. Well, we all know how easily people are fooled. We all know how easily people hallucinate, how easily they imagine, how easily they dream. So that's an extremely poor argument in favor of the existence of a God.
Some people use their experience as evidence, but that doesn't mean there is no God. If anything, if everyone in the world is having similar experiences, they believe in something like a God, and it is repeatable. I mean, all these different people are having different experiences of God. Doesn't that show that maybe there's something to it? Maybe there's not everything right, but for you to say that this is an argument against God, it doesn't follow. I'm not saying that using your personal experience is a good argument for God, but I'm saying that it's not an argument that there's no God. And everyone, including atheists, live based off of their personal experiences. Those are powerful for people. Atheists aren't any different.
What other arguments are there? The argument from first cause, well, that shoots itself in the foot, because if you're going to postulate a God as a first cause, you've then got a really big problem explaining where the God came from.
Through revelation, we know that God is uncreated. He is always